Welcome to the In Your Powers podcast, where we give a name and a face to emotion. We discuss the real and raw when it comes to mental and emotional health. We are here to teach you that emotions are information and behavior is a choice. We want to help you make safer connections through healthy communication by empowering you to understand what your emotions are telling you. I'm your host, Tami Hymas. Let's get started. Welcome to the In Your Powers podcast. I'm Tami Hymas, your host, and I'm introducing you today to our new co-host, Nikki Tavares. Nikki, please let the audience know who you are and why you're here.
Well, I'm here because Tami asked me to be here, but I am part of the In Your Powers team, and I love everything about the In Your Powers program, and Tami and I just get along so well, and with our questions and responses, that we just thought we would try doing this together, and so here we are.
And she's been a teacher for...
over 20 years, yeah.
Yeah. And she loves kids, and we care about people. We both love people.
Yes, definitely a people person.
and you're welcome. There's a co-host. You don't just have to listen to me anymore. And she's fun. It'll be great. So today we're going to... can you tell me a little bit about your family and anything, just a little bit more about you?
Sure. I've been married for 24 years, and I have 4 kids. My oldest is going on 22, and my youngest is going on 17. And I love them all to pieces, and we live here in Rexburg, but my husband and I grew up in the Seattle area. And so we really appreciate small town Rexburg after growing up in the city and whatnot. So we really like it here. And like you said, I love kids. I love teaching and education and helping kids through their struggles. And I'm seeing it more and more in the classroom, the emotional struggles that our kids go through. And so I am so excited to be a part of this.
And we're so happy to have you. I'm sad for the little kiddos that don't get you this year, but you're going to be in all of the classrooms soon because we're creating our classroom material. So, and that will come up in more episodes. But right today, on this episode, on our Moments Minute, we are going to talk about the power of our thoughts. Do you actually stop to think about your thoughts? Are they positive? Are they negative? Are they positive towards you and negative towards others? Like when you're driving a car, they should drive like this or they should drive like that. Or are they positive about others and negative about yourself? Like, oh, look at how great they do this and look at how great they do that. I'm not worth it. And I don't think we actually pay attention to the power of our thoughts. So for our Moments Minute, we want you, the viewer and the listener, to think, where are my thoughts? And are they positive or negative? But there's more to thoughts, isn't there?
Well, yes, and I think it's really hard to stop and think about your thoughts. And since being a part of the In Your Powers program, it's funny how now I'm starting to do that a lot more. Like, why am I thinking that? Where are my thoughts? Like driving, because I've been one of those people that will be like, I don't remember sitting through that light. I don't remember because my thoughts are everywhere else. What do I got to do when I get home? What do I got to do tomorrow? All those different things. And so taking the time to actually think about where my thoughts are actually takes some effort.
And we don't even realize the words we say in our head become the actions with our hands. And I don't think we realize that the thoughts in our heads and our thoughts about other people give them power or take it away. Could you tell a difference in the classroom when you had a positive thought about a child and you approached their desk, or when they were really driving you nuts and you were working with them?
Yes. Yeah. It happens all the time, actually. And you have to keep those positive thoughts, because if you let those negative thoughts come out, especially with a child, they can tell. You can always tell too when someone, they may say the right thing, but you can tell by their tone of voice or whatnot that they're irritated or they don't like you by their expressions or whatnot. And the same thing happens with kids, that, they could be driving you crazy, but if you can think to yourself, why are they acting like this? What are they thinking? What are they going through? It keeps your thoughts in a more positive direction, that I'm going to help them. I'm going to be the one that's not going to blow up at them today. I'm going to be the one that's going to be the more supportive, because obviously the reason why they're doing this, there's something going on. And their actions are the results of feelings and thoughts that they're having.
And a lot of people know what they're thinking and not what they're feeling, or what they're feeling and not what they're thinking.
And that's me. It's like I'm one that can see my feelings first, and then why am I feeling this way? Why am I upset, or why am I sad? And then, well, because someone said this to me, or because they didn't do this, and stuff like that. So I can go from feelings to thoughts, but I do know people who go from thoughts to feelings.
Like, I know what I'm thinking, and then my reality isn't matching my thoughts. In fact, I think that's when we have the most storms. In fact, we know that's true. When our thoughts or our reality in our head doesn't match the reality of the world, that's when we get frustrated. And you can hear it in your thoughts. They should do this, and they should do that, and they should be here, and they should be there. Or why wouldn't they just try like this? Or why wouldn't they do this? Or could you just do it this way? Those thoughts, like that driver that cut you off, they shouldn't cut me off. Why shouldn't they cut you off? Why? You were maybe blocking their way, or you don't know what's going on in their life. And so when we want to control someone else, I think that's when the power of our thoughts actually become the biggest problem. Because you can only have control of yourself, and you have control of your thoughts, and you have control of your hands, and you have control of your actions. But you cannot control anyone else. Even a child. Can you control? I mean, you can create standards for a child, but can you control a child?
No. No. I mean, and then think about yourself. And one of the things that you and I discussed at another time about thoughts was that sometimes our thoughts are in our heads, and we are letting other people's thoughts control us. So if someone
True.
calls us clumsy, you're so clumsy, you're so clumsy. Our brain has like this filing cabinet, and it has all these little things in there, and it's neutral. So if someone calls you clumsy, open up the filing cabinet's going to open up, and oh yeah, remember that time you tripped here. Remember the time you fell here. And then you start to think, oh, maybe I am clumsy. Right? Because somebody else
Pointed it out.
And so then all of a sudden your brain is going to start telling you all these things about when you were clumsy. Or if someone calls you stupid, your brain is going to open up the filing cabinet. Well, remember when you didn't do well on this test? Remember when you couldn't read this? Remember when you couldn't do this? And it's not going to find all the positives, because your thoughts are already spinning about being stupid, and then you start to believe that thought that's in your head.
It's so true. In fact, we were at the Association Play Therapy Conference, and we were speaking to a counselor that works with the inner city kids. And we were talking about thoughts, and she's like, I'm trying to help them see, and they all protect me, and they all love me. And I mean, she's in the inner city, so we're talking like very, very rough homes and gang lives and very, 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 very toxic behaviors to just yourself and humanity, addictions and generational bad patterns. And she was saying how even the thoughts of people around those kids they already think I'm a thug. So I'm just going to do that. Mm-hmm. They already think I'm stupid. I'm just going to do that. And so she started telling me that she changes the way she thinks about them, because she can see their potential. And she wants to teach them that all the things that had happened to them when they were younger have a purpose, and they don't have to be that way as they get older. And I had the best time talking with her during the conference. And she goes, but do you understand that you have 10 thoughts to your one action? So if you're having a negative thought and other people are telling you that you're not enough, or that you're stupid, or one of those things, and then your filing cabinet opens up in your head, and then you have all those proofs, you're cycling through them so many more times than you're actually actionably doing.
Yep. It is likewise, a positive comment can do the same thing.
Right.
You're so helpful, you're so kind. Then that filing cabinet opens up, and all the things, when you helped your neighbor, when you helped your friend, and blah, 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 all these positive things, but we're not hearing those positive comments, and you're letting your thoughts control your mind.
Exactly.
And whether it's for positive or for negative, our thoughts sit there and control our outlook, and being able to then change that, like those inner city kids, being able to change their thought process if there's no hope for me,
Right.
and they already think I'm bad, so I'm just going to be bad.
Right.
But so to change that thought process and to teach people, not just kids, but people, that these are just, moments and thoughts and we can change them, is, I think, life changing for people.
It is.
Being able to sit there and go, I'm not stupid. I am enough. I am smart. I am pretty. I am
Capable.
I am good. I am capable. Any of those things, changing those thought processes. People who've been in addictions, that they're not losers, that they can overcome this.
Right.
Changing those thoughts are huge, and it takes effort and it takes work, because it's been so ingrained that to change it is going to take a lot of work.
It is. And we say that there's 960 moments a day, because the parasympathetic system, so if you are feeling something and your heart's racing or you have a lump in your throat, as soon as you label that emotion, that racing stops after 90 seconds, according to the CDC. So that calculates to 960 moments a day. So there's no reason to have a bad day anymore. You can just have a bad moment. However, when your thoughts are racing, you're having, and this is what that counselor was saying too, she goes, it's 10 to 1. You're having 10 times the thoughts to that 1 90-second moment. And how often are your thoughts not even where you are? How often are your kids' thoughts when you were teaching the classroom, at home, or at the playground when somebody got hurt, or with what they have to do after school? How often do we catch ourselves not even living in our own reality with our thoughts?
Oh, I think we do it all the time.
I agree.
I remember we moved houses, and I was so used to turning left at the light that I was on autopilot, because in my mind, I'm on my way home from work, and in my mind is everywhere else but driving, and I actually turned at the light and was actually almost to my previous house before I even realized, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I shouldn't have turned. I'm supposed to go straight now. But because my thoughts were not where I was at, and in the car and paying attention to where I was going, I turned on autopilot, because that's what I was doing.
Right. And I can't tell you how many showers I've had imaginary fights with people that never materialized, or imaginary events. I was going to plan this amazing birthday party, and all the kids were going to love it, and all the parents were going to be like, oh, you're amazing, because I put this idea in my head, and then one kid came in crying, and another kid ended up with stitches. Because we had a piñata. We don't do piñatas anymore. They're awesome. I'm not saying anything bad about them. You just need a better attentive adult than me. But, you put these ideas in our head, and we let our thoughts get carried away. And it's okay to, let a cognitive dot. We have a goal. We're like, oh, we have this goal. This is how we're going to get there. The thing is we need to surrender to how reality is getting there, than being stuck on the way we thought it would go.
Right, especially since we can't control anybody else.
Exactly.
You want this perfect birthday party, or this perfect event that you're planning, or dinner party, or whatever it is to go, but you can't control the 20 other people that are going to be there. You can't control them from saying something that's going to offend someone. You can't stop a kid from crying, or the bat hitting someone and needing stitches, or or someone not having a good time, or someone having a good time. You can't control those, but yet we base our failure or success on those expectations and on those thoughts. And so then we judge ourselves based on that, even though we have no control of the weather, if it's outside or inside, or those 20 other people and their thoughts and behaviors and stuff. But we set ourselves up for that disappointment, or, judging ourselves based on our thoughts.
I say it all the time. My mom taught me that. She came home one day and she goes, Tami, expectations are premeditated disappointments. And I was like, what? But you expected me to be a good girl. You expected me to go to school. You expected me to go to college. Those are premeditated disappointments. And it wasn't until I sat in that for a while that I realized, oh yeah, expectations are premeditated disappointments. Having a goal, I'm going to go to school. That's a goal. This is our standard. This is how we act in the world. This is how we treat people. Those are all good. But when we put those cognitive dots together with our thoughts and life doesn't turn out the way our thoughts go, those are the disappointments. That's why they're premeditated disappointments, because you can only control you. In fact, we say it in the program a lot. Stay where your hands are. Like, be present. Let your thoughts be with your moment. Because then that way you can actually control the actions and not turn
the wrong way when you're supposed to go straight. Yeah, or not remember how you got somewhere. Yeah.
Or be disappointed at a party that turned out phenomenal for everyone but you.
Yeah.
Because everybody went and had the best time or had the time they needed, but because you wanted to control the actions of everyone else, you were disappointed.
Right, or the behind the scenes stuff, right? That nobody else saw, and so they all thought it was great, and we like, oh no, this didn't work out, and this didn't work out, and it was supposed to be like this, it was supposed to be like that, and that didn't happen, and so you think it's a failure, but to everybody else, it wasn't.
Right, and it's that supposed to be's, and the shoulds, and the coulds, and the woulds, and everybody, and always and never, those absolutes that are stuck in our heads, unless they're where you are hurting you.
Yeah, and I think about kids and kids in the classroom and our thoughts, they're so pure aware. And, so like...
Wait a second, I'm going to say that again. Because
no.
Pure aware. Like, they understand their surroundings.
Yes, well, they're for example, if they're going to read out loud or answer a question out loud, it needs to be a safe place. Because if not, they don't want to hear everybody else's thoughts, either that they didn't answer the question right, or they got the question wrong, or their question was dumb, or that they're not as good of a reader as someone else, or things like that. So they don't want to put themselves out there because they're already thinking those thoughts that they're going to be made fun of, that someone's going to make fun of them, or they're going to know that I don't read well, or, things like that. And so they won't raise their hand, or they won't read out loud, or they won't participate because of that fear.
Or they'll get in trouble so they don't have to participate or read out loud. That was me.
Yeah.
I would either, if I had enough time, I could memorize the paragraph before it got to me. Or I would just try to act up before it got to me because I didn't want them to hear me read out loud.
Right.
Because I have holes in the language center of my brain, and so I don't read out loud well, and I have a hard time reading and writing. And so I was one of those children. And my thoughts were that I was dumb. And that's been like when you were talking not smart enough and stuff, that was my thoughts most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to rewrite those.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard to rewrite them, especially as children, because they're reinforced at school by their so-called peers, and on the playground and being made fun of and things like that. And where friendship is so important, and having friends and being able to do well, and when others make fun of you and stuff like that, it's instilled from such a young age that it must be true, right? And so then changing those thought patterns, it's like those inner city kids. They've been told since they were little that they're never going to make it out of here, that they're just going to, this is how it's going to be, and that's what they think. And they haven't seen it any different.
Right.
And no one's told them that they're special. No one's told them that they can make it. No, until that.
And people might have told them, but their thoughts didn't match what they were saying.
Right.
And we can feel it because our thoughts give energy. A soul knows. Mm-hmm. And so if your thoughts don't match your words, a soul knows.
Well, and not even just that your thoughts don't match your words, it's also how you deliver those words.
It's true.
Like I would tell my kids in the classroom, and even my own kids, I can say, hello, hi, how are you? Hello. And I can also go, hello. And it's the same word, but how I say it changes the meaning.
It's
right?
true.
So if I sit there and tell someone, yeah, you can be my friend, and say, yeah, you can be my friend, I would love it. It's two different ways, but the same words, and you can feel it on how it was given. So then you start your thoughts rolling. Well, was that sarcastic? Was that genuine? Was that, now I'm not so sure, and there goes our thoughts again.
Running away from us.
Yep.
So in this podcast, we have talked a lot about thoughts with children, playgrounds, people. We have our new co-host, Nikki Tavares. We're super excited. And we want to remind you to think about your thoughts this week. I know, silly, right? Think about your thoughts, but do it. Pay attention.
It's harder than you think.
And there's way more thoughts than you know you have, like for reals. And with that, also try when you're in the car to be present in the car. Feel the steering wheel under your hand. Pay attention to the people driving and look around and see the kid that might be crossing the street. Don't fight an imaginary war. Pull a filing cabinet that says you're not enough, or that you're clumsy, or that you're dumb and you don't deserve friends. Actually, when you hear them going negative, or the shoulds, the coulds, the woulds, always, or nevers, switch them. Ask your thoughts to find how you are a champion, how you're a winner, how you're amazing, how you're capable, how you're kind, how you're a good helper, how you're smart. There is a positive narrative in your head that you have said for so long. The one for me was, I was a hairdresser, and I'm a hairdresser. So when I wasn't doing hair, I felt like I was lying because my thoughts said, I'm a hairdresser. And so pay attention to your thoughts. They're good ones, and there's negative and positive. Negative and positive.
Yeah, it's true. Negative and positive.
And there's one where you're in control of yourself, and there's one when you want to control others. So if you could pay attention to that this week, it might be a pretty profound week for you. Anything you want to say?
Nope, I completely agree 100%. I would love to know what people thought about their thoughts. Because it is, when you start paying attention, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I can't believe I was thinking all these different things.
Well, and I can't believe how mean I am to myself.
Yes. I am really nice to everybody else but myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I talk to a person the way I talk to myself, I would not be my friend.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'd probably be my friend, and I'd be like, here, let me help you.
Yeah.
See what you are.
Yeah. It's hard to take compliments to yourself.
It is.
But it's easy to give them. But our thoughts...
For some.
True. But our thoughts about ourselves and others have a profound difference in our lives, and and it has a profound effect on the direction we go.
Exactly.
And remember, emotions are information.
And behavior is a choice. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Amy Powers Podcast. We are grateful you are here. Please share this podcast with those you know who might need it, and follow and rate us so we can continue providing this podcast to you. Follow us on social media to see more visuals about the Amy Powers, and join us next week for another episode. Until then, remember, the power to choose is in you.